You've stepped off the lighted road and onto a path that few return from. Welcome to the hunting path 1408. Tonight's story is one that should have never been told. Chapter 3. The drive to the lake cabin felt both endless and too short. The familiar winding roads through the foothills were blessedly empty of the chaos they had left behind, but the silence was unnerving. The rain had stopped by the time they turned onto the long, unpaved road that led to the cabin, the tires of the SUV crunching on the gravel. Tall pines and hardwoods pressed in on either side, their branches dripping with moisture, creating a tunnel of green that felt both sheltering and isolating. Finally, the small rustic cabin came into view, nestled on a gentle slope overlooking the still gray surface of Douglas Lake. It was simple, built from rough-hewn logs with a small porch and a stone chimney. There were no other houses visible, no signs of human habitation for miles around. David's grandfather had built it decades ago as a hunting and fishing retreat, deliberately choosing a spot far from civilization. Now that isolation felt like their greatest asset. David pulled the SUV right up to the porch. The air here was clean and cool, smelling of damp earth and pine needles. Lily unbuckled her seatbelt slowly, her movements stiff. She looked around, her eyes taking in the quiet woods, the still lake.
It's quiet,
she said, her voice barely a whisper.
Like nothing happened.
Real quiet,
David replied, a sense of weary relief washing over him. He killed the engine, and the sudden silence was profound, broken only by the distant call of a bird and the gentle lapping of water against the shore.
Let's get this stuff inside.
Unloading the SUV was a somber task. Each bag of groceries, each blanket, each rifle felt heavy with the weight of their new reality. They carried everything inside, the cabin's single room feeling small but sturdy. There was a stone fireplace, a small kitchen area with a propane stove and a hand pump for water from the well, and 2 sets of bunk beds. It was basic, but it was shelter. As David put the guns away in a locked cabinet he kept at the cabin, Lily carefully placed her books and the teddy bear on the top bunk. She looked around the cabin, then back at her dad.
Is this home now?
She asked, her lower lip trembling slightly. David knelt down, pulling her into a hug.
For now, Lil. For now, this is the safest place for us to be.
He held her tightly, burying his face in her hair, the scent of her familiar and comforting.
We'll make it work. We'll be okay.
But what about our house?
Lily asked, her voice muffled against his shirt.
And my friends? And school?
I don't know, sweetie.
David admitted softly.
Things are different now. We'll figure it out, though. Together.
He pulled back, looking into her eyes.
We have each other. That's the most important thing.
Over the next few days, a semblance of routine began to form, a fragile attempt at normality in their new, abnormal world. David spent hours working on the old ham radio his grandfather had kept at the cabin. It was a finicky piece of equipment, but he knew the basics. He strung an antenna wire high into the tallest pine tree and spent long, frustrating periods trying to pick up any signals. Most of what he found was static, or garbled voices speaking in codes he didn't understand, but occasionally he'd catch snippets, panicked broadcasts, official-sounding messages that cut out abruptly, confirming that the nightmare wasn't confined to Gatlinburg. The world outside was still burning.
Anything, Dad?
Lily would ask, watching him tinker with the dials, her brow furrowed with concern.
Just noise mostly.
He'd reply, a frown on his face.
Sounds like things are bad everywhere. No clear messages yet, just chaos.
He sighed, running a hand over the worn radio casing.
I was hoping someone would be coordinating things. The military, maybe.
Do you think they can stop it?
Lily asked, her voice small. David hesitated. He wanted to say yes, to offer her comfort, but the images from the grocery store, from the streets, were too vivid.
I don't know, Lil. I really don't know. But we're here now, and we'll be ready for whatever comes.
He also began teaching Lily. The woods around the cabin were dense and full of life. He showed her how to identify different trees and plants using her edible plants book.
See this one, Lily? This is a wild onion. Smells like it too. Good for flavoring food.
Can we eat it now?
She'd ask, curious, poking at the green sheets with a stick.
Not yet, we need to be sure, and we have plenty of canned food for now. But it's good to know what's out here if we need it. This book is going to be really useful.
They practiced setting small snares for rabbits and squirrels, a skill that felt both necessary and unsettling. Lily was surprisingly quick at learning the knots.
Like tying my shoes, but for catching animals.
She'd observed, a hint of unease in her voice.
Exactly, Lil. It's about being resourceful.
David explained, trying to keep his tone practical. He taught her how to track animal signs, how to move quietly through the woods.
See those tracks, Lil? That's a deer, probably headed towards the creek for water. If we were hunting, we'd follow those.
It's like a puzzle.
Lily said. Her interest piqued despite the serious context. And he taught her how to use the guns. It was a conversation he dreaded, but one he knew was essential. They started with the rifle, practicing with empty chambers until she was comfortable holding it, aiming. Then they moved to the pistol, the shotgun. He showed her how to load and unload, how to clean them. Her small hands seemed almost swallowed by the grips, but she listened intently, her expression serious.
This feels heavy, Dad.
She said, the first time she held the rifle, her brow furrowed with the effort.
It is, Lil. They're serious tools,
he said.
These are for protecting ourselves, Lily.
He added, his voice gentle but firm.
Only if we absolutely have to. If there's no other choice. You understand?
Lily nodded, her eyes meeting his, a flicker of the fear they had shared in the store passing between them.
I understand, Dad. Like the bad things from the store?
Yes, like the bad things from the store.
He confirmed, his heart aching a little that she had to understand this at her age.
We hope we never have to use them, but we need to know how just in case. It's like learning to swim. You hope you never fall in the deep end, but it's good to know how to stay afloat.
Despite the grim lessons, they found moments of peace. The late spring days grew warmer, the sun filtering through the trees, dappling the forest floor. They spent hours by the lake. The water was cold at first, but refreshing. They swam, splashing and laughing, the sounds echoing across the still water, a small pocket of joy in the vast silence. David taught Lily how to fish from the small wooden dock, patiently baiting hooks and untangling lines.
Got one?
Lily would shout, her small fishing rod bending, reeling in a small sunfish, her face beaming with triumph.
Nice job, little bug,
David would praise, helping her unhook it.
Looks like we're having fish for dinner.
They didn't always catch anything, but the act of sitting there, the sun on their faces, the gentle rocking of the dock, felt like a small victory. A taste of the life they used to have, a reminder that even in this new world there were still moments of simple happiness. As the days turned into weeks, they settled into a rhythm dictated by the sun and their needs. The fear was always there, a low hum beneath the surface, a shadow in the corners of their minds, but it no longer consumed them. They were surviving, they were learning, they were together, and for now, the isolated cabin by the lake felt like the last safe place on Earth. You've reached the end of this story, but the path doesn't stop here. Shadows still stir, the walls still whisper. So if you're still listening, you've taken another step down the haunting path 1408. Subscribe if you dare to walk it again.